salesman is peddling his goods from door to door in a massive high-rise building. He knocks at a young man's apartment and asks him, "Would you like to buy a top-of-the-line toothbrush?" "It's only $10. $10 for a toothbrush?" the man yells. "What moron would pay $10 for a toothbrush? You're out of your mind." "Alright then," the salesman continues. "Then how about a fresh-baked brownie for $1? The man thinks it over and says, "Okay, why not?" The salesman hands over the brownie. The man takes a bite and spits it out onto the floor in the hallway. "My God, that tastes like crap," he yells. "Well, that's because it is crap," the salesman explains. "So, can I interest you in a toothbrush?" A beautiful, voluptuous woman went to a gynecologist. The doctor took one look at this woman and all his professionalism went out of the window. He immediately told her to undress. After she had disrobed, the doctor began to stroke her thigh. Doing so, he asked her, "Do you know what I'm doing?" "Yes," she replied. "You're checking for any problems." "That is right," said the doctor. He then began to fondle her breasts. "Do you know what I'm doing now?" he asked. "Yes," the woman said. "You're checking for any lumps or breast cancer." "Correct," replied the shady doctor. Finally, he mounted his patient and started having sexual intercourse with her. He asked, "Do you know what I'm doing now?" "Yes," she said. "You're getting herpes, which is why I came here in the first place." A man is walking past this house when a used condom comes flying out of the second-story window and lands squarely on his head. Rather disgusted and absolutely furious, he goes up to the front door and starts pounding on it. An elderly man opens it and asks him what caused him to knock so loudly. The passerby asks, "Who's in your upstairs room?" The elderly man replies, "I can't see how it's any of your business. Since you must know, my daughter and intended son-in-law are upstairs." The passerby hands him the used condom and says, "Well, I just wanted you to know that your intended grandchild fell out of the window." A man walks into a bar and asks for a beer. After drinking it, he looks in his shirt pocket and asks for another beer. After drinking that one, he looks in his shirt pocket again and asks for another beer. This happens about another 7 times before the bartender asks him, "Why do you keep looking in your pocket?" The man replies, "I have a picture of my wife in there. When she looks good enough, I'll go home." A philosopher and scientist were being chased by a lion. The scientist looked back and made a swift calculation. Puffing, he said to the philosopher, "We can't outrun it, you know." The philosopher was slightly ahead. He replied, "I'm not trying to outrun the lion. I'm trying to outrun you." A man is driving to work and is called on his mobile. It's his boss saying he's been promoted. The man is so happy his car wobbles in the road. A little while later, there's another phone call and he's been promoted again. He is so happy he swerves into the middle of the road and back into his own lane. Later, there's another phone call. For the 3rd time, he's promoted. He's so overwhelmed with joy that he swerves off the road and bangs into a tree. A passing car stops, a man gets out and says, "Are you alright? What happened?" And the other man replies, "I careered off the road." A man goes into a shop and starts looking around. He sees a washer and dryer, but there are no prices listed on them. He asks a salesman, who says $5 for both of them. "You've got to be joking," the man says. "No, that's the price," the salesman says. "Do you want to buy them or not?" "Yeah, I'll take them," the man says. He continues to look around and sees a car stereo system with a detachable phase cassette player, a CD changer, amplifier, and speakers. How much? He asks. $5 for the system, including installation, the salesman says. Is it stolen? The man asks incredulously. No, says the salesman. It's brand new. Do you want it or not? Certainly, the man says. He looks around some more as the salesman is ringing up the purchases. The man asks him, why are your prices so cheap? The salesman says, well, the owner of the shop is at my house right now with my wife, and what he's doing to her, I'm doing to his business. A pirate walks into a pub. Another patron, having never met a pirate before, wants to know the stories behind the battle scars. He buys the pirate a pint and strikes up a conversation. How did you get the peg leg? Shark took off me leg in the South Seas. How about that hook? Lost a hand in a sword fight. And the eye patch? Seagull pooped in me eye. Are seagull droppings really that dangerous? No, but it were me first day with the hook. 5 men were sitting around the table at a restaurant bragging who had the largest dick. Finally, one guy said, I'll settle this. Let's all put our dicks on the table. That will decide it. At about that time, 2 gay guys walk in and were seated. The waiter asked them if they'd like to see a menu. The gay guys responded, oh, no, we'll just have the buffet. Georgie is walking down the street after a sex change operation has transformed him into a beautiful woman. An old friend sees him and says, Georgie, you look great. You're beautiful. Georgie says, thanks, but holy Christ, did it hurt? His friend says, well, they cut open your chest and put in those implants. Georgie says, no, that didn't really hurt. His friend says, well, they cut off your dick and dug out the vagina. Georgie says, no, that didn't really hurt. His friend says, then what did hurt? Georgie says, well, the doctor drilled a fucking hole in my head and sucked out half my brain. In a train car, there was an Englishman, a Frenchman, and a spectacular-looking blonde and a frightfully awful-looking fat lady. After several minutes, the train happened to pass through the dark tunnel, and the unmistakable sound of a slap was heard. When they left the tunnel, the Frenchman had a big red slap mark on his cheek. The blonde thought that French wanted to touch me and must have put his hand on the fat lady by mistake, who in turn must have slapped his face. The large lady thought that dirty old Frenchman laid his hands on the blonde and she smacked him. The Frenchman thought that freaking Englishman put his hands on the blonde and slapped me by mistake. The Englishman thought, I hope there's another tunnel soon so I can smack that French again.